what's up? Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good?
So you told us before we began filming that you have an Oscar. Can you walk us through the process of how you became an investor in a film that eventually won that Oscar? I'm super curious.
So I'll take you back before then. I'm in the car with Kanye West, who is a mentor and a friend, obviously a very brilliant mind, right? And we're talking about films, and we're like, oh, we got to do this film together, right? We like, oh, we got this idea. And in the conversation, I'm like, oh my God, this idea is brilliant. We can win an Oscar for this, right? And so he gets quiet, and we're driving, and I mean, you know the Kanye face, he just kind of goes, and he's like, man, you ruined that moment. And I'm like, how I ruined the moment? And he's like, I can't believe that as we were going into our creative zone and we're coming up with ideas that can inspire and change the world, that you limited the scope of it by, having somebody else give us an award to make us feel good about it, right? And that really hit me hard because I was like, damn, you're right. I'm not just thinking about us being creative. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, how can somebody else give me props for doing something that I'm passionate about? And after that, I kind of just said, you know what? I'm not. I'm just going to start creating and doing things and working with people that I want to work with.
Yeah.
Within 72 months, within the next, 2-3 years, I get a phone call from a business partner, friend of mine named Miranda Garrett, who sets me up with a guy named Trayvon Free and my man Van. And they're working on this incredible project called Two Distant Strangers. And they wanted it to be invested. They wanted Black people to be the investors on it, right? The concept, if you haven't seen it, is like Black Lives Matter meets Groundhog Day, right? Beautiful, yeah, Joey Badass. Beautiful script, beautiful project. And so I invested in it, right? Fast forward, the film is Oscar nominated. Fast forward, the film wins an Oscar, right? Oscar night, I'm standing there holding an Oscar in my hand, right? I tell the whole story to make sure people understand it's not about the destination, right? It's not about some end goal. It's about the journey, right? It's about all I did was work with good people. And when I stopped putting some kind of value at the end of it, all the things that I wanted started happening for me. And then the next year I got the call, I'm hosting the Oscars red carpet. You know what I mean? So from BET Awards to hosting the Oscars red carpet, all because I just believed in my craft and never gave up. And so it's never about chasing the money, right? It's always about, for me, in the business standpoint, of doing things that you love doing and that you're passionate about, and then working with people smarter than you, like you said earlier, that can help you make money. Let the money make itself, you know?
So let me ask you, all right, let's do this. Let's have a hot topic, and we're like slicing it up a little bit. But I want your input on it because you're in the space. But Ian, I'm gonna start with you. So we reported last week about the Netflix teaming up with Microsoft.
Yes.
Very interesting situation.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think of that as far as, that subscription model? And do you think that eventually Netflix will be acquired by Microsoft? And how do you feel about Netflix long-term perspective?
Yeah, the funny part is somebody had messaged me 3 days ago. I was like, you guys talked about this in 2020. I forgot we had even mentioned it. So Netflix has been under fire, of course. I think they need to change their model because at the rate at which they're losing subscribers and the current price point, they won't be able to get to that $400 or $500 valuation anytime soon. Again, if they don't, but Microsoft will be a perfect partner. So initially, even when Facebook began the ad platform, who did they partner with first? Microsoft. Microsoft is a very non-competitive partner where they won't try and come in and take all the shine away from your business. And if they partner with Netflix on it, I think it would give them the push they needed. It would give them a lot more liquidity and a bigger ecosystem to be able to sustain. I think Microsoft has done subscription platform better than almost anyone. And given the trouble that they're in right now with pricing and the amount of debt they have for these shows, I think they'll make a hell of a comeback if Microsoft did acquire them. Microsoft one of my babies, so I was happy to see this news pop up.
But even if they don't acquire them, just a partnership, do you think that will help Netflix?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because even like if let's say if we partner with Universal or even with Ally, right? Those partnerships help, as you talked about, relationship, ecosystem, trust. And if they get into that ecosystem and they begin to advise and help them on how to structure the business better, things can turn around in 2 or 3 years for sure for the company. So it's something that's needed.
I think that's part of it. I think that part that you spoke about liquidity is key, right? Because we've spoken for how many months about how much debt they're in because of the licensing of the content and trying to create original content, and just that strategy of going about business is just not sustainable long term.
Doesn't work.
Now we'll see tomorrow. They have their earnings report, but we'll see because last time they reported, we saw for the first time a decline in the amount of subscribers.
Yeah,
we saw all their competitors actually have an incline. Disney being right on their heels, and so the liquidity part is important. But like you said, when you partner with somebody who is a stable, like a stalwart in the space, you're going to learn from that.
Yeah.
Right. And so that helps the stock. That helps the company. And we saw once the news was announced, we saw an increase in Netflix stock.
Yeah.
Well, if they have a long-term relationship, they have a partnership. I don't know if they'll be able to acquire. We'll see. But that helps.
Yeah.
Right. It helps. Right. There's so much bad news that's been happening to Netflix. We saw them get cut from $600 down to $160. And it's like, wow, they lost 70%. Well, here's a sign of good news. Here's a sign of good faith. There's this company, Microsoft is one of the top 3 companies in the world that believes in them and believes in a partnership going forward. So it helps it, you know what I mean?
And let's not forget about those old board members that at Microsoft that don't like Apple. Apple TV, they won an Oscar this year, right?
They did.
Yeah, Apple TV's been killing it.
Their content has been killing it. So don't think that they're not looking at that space and saying, hey, we can do what they did, but better with a company that's already dominated in that space. So if they can help fix the debt structure, subscription, and provide liquidity, those old wars never go away in tech.
That's fine. I know you didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Apple, they won the best film. Yeah. That's great. That's a great take.
So Terrence, let me ask you this. Shout out to Dame Dash.
Shout out Dame.
My brother. He's very opinionated, if you didn't know that. The last time we saw him in person, we had a discussion in the parking lot, and he was saying that subscription models don't work. He was like, Netflix is in trouble, no subscription models. He's like, but like Tubi and YouTube, he's like, free is the way to go. Like, give it away. Don't charge people for it. Like, the subscription is not a good model when it comes to content. You're a content creator. What do you feel about that? Do you feel that just give content away, or do you feel like you can make people or allow people to pay, and that's a viable option?
You know, I feel like there's the ebb and flow of the market, right? I mean, obviously, we all know the story about Blockbuster Video, right? And then we look at the story of Netflix, and now we look at where Netflix is right now and the shifts that are happening in the industry. You know, when you told somebody, 10 years ago, you could pay $8 and have unlimited content and new films and everything like that was an incredible deal, right? Like the subscription-based model was an incredible deal, right? But now we're looking at a critical mass, right? There's so many different. I can't even keep up with the HBO Max, the Hulu, Amazon Prime, and there's so much good content that you want to get it all. You can't miss the show. You don't want to miss Game of Thrones, but you also don't want to miss, the whatever. Yeah, ball, right? You don't want to miss what's coming out. So there's so many subscriptions that, now we've reached another plateau, just like in any other market, where people are going to want to go to, all right, well, how can I watch this for free? Well, guess what? That's been called cable television, forever. Right? And, network television for years. You'll see it go down. There'll be other, freebies and other Voodoo, I believe. There's a ton coming out of the gate that have really strong content. I believe the world that's going to exist 10 years from now is going to be a world where there's a little bit of both. I don't think that the subscription-based model is going to go away altogether. But I think you will start to see other avenues and other free services emerge as well.
Can we talk about the title content creator? Because, I mean, this is a journey that you've been on. We saw you as talent. We saw you as a host. We saw you as an actor. But now, content creator, right? We went from hosting a show to now, you're co-producing. Investments, right? Creative director of it. So what has that journey been like? Because when you walked in today and you looked around and you were very observing, like, wait, y'all do all this? Y'all, who does? Is that something that you've always done? And in your mind, you knew that, you know what? I don't want to be in the camera forever. I need to learn all these things because I'm going to be behind it. What was that journey like?
There's a brilliant film called The Kid Stays in the Picture. Anybody that wants to get into entertainment, should watch this movie. And the moral of the story is the guy starts off as an actor, but he goes out and he's part of a film, and they didn't want him in the movie. And there was a guy that came out and said, you know what, leave the kid. The kid stays in the picture. And he wanted to then be that guy who's the producer, the person behind the scenes. And for me, I started my career young. I started my career in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, working for a radio station. I went to a historically Black college, North Carolina A&T, worked at the on-campus radio station, worked at, 102 Jams in Greensboro, built my career. Everybody watched me, very blue-collar career on the television sense of it, right? Of being a talent, for 15 years on television for people to watch. And then you just get to that point where I know my way around a set more than anything. I'm sitting there watching you read your thing. I'm like, it was a good read. Good read. Right? And now it's like there's such a joy in being able to put people in positions, right? That's now my excitement, is to be able to curate a film. I think we'll be announcing it soon, but I want to direct my first project, by the end of this year. And when you look at legendary careers like Ron Howard, who's one of my favorite directors, he started as an actor. And I think that staying creative, staying with things to accomplish in life. I just turned 40 this year, and
baby coming up.
82 babies. And it's like,
He's still young.
How much time do we have, right?
Yeah, that's true.
If we get 100 years on this rock, we were blessed, right? So I want to look back at my life like Paul Robeson. I want to be a Renaissance man to be able to say, yo, I was on camera, I was off camera, I helped people, I inspired people. And so I think that's the next evolution. And from a business standpoint, that's where the real money and the real wealth is behind the scenes as well.
This that Red Panda Anthem. Ian, what's up? This that Red Panda Anthem. Red Panda, what's good? Red Panda Anthem. Your boy going up. I know they can't stand it.